Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Radhe Radhe. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Radhe 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 Radhe. Govinda Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radhe Radhe Radhe. Govinda Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Govinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya 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 Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya 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 Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hare Govinda Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama
want me to take this away now? Or
Yeah, take it away. Oh, leave it there, Mark.
leave it there?
I'll just put this on top.
Yeah. Can you come here, baby?
Hare Krishna. Thank you. I was one time in Melbourne when Srila Prabhupada came, and everyone was, he came from the airport, and everyone in the temple room was dancing and chanting, and running up and down and twirling around, and at the end of the kirtan, even during the kirtan, Prabhupada began to smile more and more and more. At the end of the kirtan, he said, I can tell everything is going nicely here. Everyone is dancing and chanting so nicely. No need to say anything practically. Everything is good. So I'd like to talk a little bit from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and reading from the Madhya Leela. Those of you who are following and studying, yesterday we had Bhagavad Gita study, yesterday morning, and this morning we had Srimad Bhagavatam study, and today we're reading a little bit from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This Sankirtan movement, this chanting and dancing especially, is promulgated, of course, by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As I've mentioned before, one time when Srila Prabhupada came to one Rath Yatra, at the end of the parade, all the people who had followed the parade and all the devotees were such a big crowd, and Prabhupada started by saying, I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Yasya prasada dagyopi sadhya sarvagyatam vrajet sa Sri Chaitanya Devo me Bhagavan samprasidato. Even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by the benediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore I am praying to the Lord for His causeless mercy upon me. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj. He's praying for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahadito Godo Deya Pushpavanto Chitro Sando Tamo Nudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. So, in Sridhar Mayapur, Prabhupada, one year, I think it was 1976, he was reading in the morning, instead of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, he was reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that work, he had pushed the BBT division of our books to publish all the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Prabhupada was working very hard to finish Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the BBT was, as he was working, he was printing the books, just like we were getting Bhagavad Gita. And then when Prabhupada finished, we got the Bhagavad Gita, and then Prabhupada was doing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Already he had done, even before India, he left India, he had the first canto, part 1, 2 and 3, he had done and brought on the ship with him to the America. He had the first canto, but then after that he was working slowly through the rest of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and as he would do second canto, part 1, we would get that book. BBT would do the translation and do the publishing and everything, and we would get that book. Before, we were only reading the first canto. We didn't have any information of the second canto. So each time a new book came, it was a very wondrous thing for us. We were very much, the BBT shipped all over the world, and we'd get on the dock, and the devotees would pick up the books, and then we'd open the books. Oh, now a new Bhagavatam is here. We can read the second canto. So it was a very big, a major event. a major event. So second canto, part 1, part 2, and then we would read through. And then he would do the third canto and the fourth canto, and like that we would get each Bhagavatam delivered, and we didn't know about what the stories were and what the instructions were in those sections of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in Indonesia, up until maybe even 10-15 years ago, the BBT was translating into the Indonesian language, and so some of those devotees didn't know to speak the English, and they only knew the Indonesian. So they were just getting also, as we translated the books in the Indonesian, they were getting those books, and they were very happy. I could see that they were very happy, like we were very happy right in the beginning in the 70s. And so Prabhupada had gone forward and had finished the Bhagavatam, or he got up to the 10th canto, but then he thought that let me also do the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, he did one book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts, and no, that was by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Prabhupada did the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, isn't it? Just Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and that book we had. He did those books because he didn't know whether he would live long enough to do the translation and commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita, but somehow he was doing it, and in 1976 he had those books. He was chastising the BBT because he was translating and giving the commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita, but they weren't keeping up with his level of translation and commentary. So he was saying, you have to keep up, and you're not going fast enough. Devamita Maharaj can tell you more of this story. I suppose maybe he's already told, is it? Because he was there in the BBT in Los Angeles, and they worked like on marathon to publish all those works, and tried to. But Prabhupada said in 2 months. He called them there. How will you, publish all these works? I think we can do one every 1 month or 2 months, Prabhupada, if we work very hard. And Prabhupada said, no, you have to do all of them in 2 months. Everyone was quite shocked. I think we can do one every 1 month or 2 months, maybe, if we work very hard. He said, do all of them in 2 months you have to do. But Prabhupada, that's impossible. Oh, Rameshwar here. This is a famous saying of Prabhupada. We all knew at the time. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada, that's impossible. There's we can't do it physically. We can't do it in 2 months. All the Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the different volumes. And Prabhupada, he gave the famous answer. He said, impossible is a word in the fool's dictionary. So they're able to somehow or other. Then they came back with a plan. Oh, Prabhupada, look, we want, as far as the paintings, the artists won't be able to draw the paintings and keeping up. So maybe we can use some of the old paintings in the meantime. And later, as the artists do them, we can replace them as they do them. But in the meantime, we can use some of the old ones and put them in. So Prabhupada said, oh yes, that's good, do that. And they suggested some other things. If that's all right with you, Prabhupada, we can maybe attempt that thing. No, you must do it. So he was pushing on them. And of course, it was getting late in Prabhupada's life, 1976, already he was 80. And only the next year, 77, he passed from this world. And so at that time, we got the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so Prabhupada had decided in Sridham Mayapur, when all the devotees had gone to Sridham Mayapur for the festival, for the Gopurnima festival, he decided, now I've got the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I'm going to read in the morning. And so he was leading Adi Leela and sometimes the different sections of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. But here we're reading about the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so endowed with love of God. It is said when he was chanting and dancing, especially in this section of the Madhya Leela, it is the middle part of his life where he went to Jagannath Puri from Navadvip, Mayapur Navadvip, and after he took the sannyas, and he went to Jagannath Puri. After a short time, he went traveling all the different places, all the different holy places, different temples. And as he was traveling, he was so much in ecstasy of the love of God. Lord Chaitanya was very tall, 7 foot, over 2 meters tall, 7 foot is. Very tall, moon-like face, golden, effulgent complexion. But when he was, and everywhere he went, he was chanting and dancing. So he was a very charismatic figure, and actually he was Sri Krishna come again, and people were drawn to him like a magnet. Like one is drawn to it, iron filings are drawn to the magnet. They were very drawn to him. He would visit the temple chanting and dancing, sometimes crying in love of Krishna, and so people would be very astounded to see that thing. And then everywhere he went, many people would follow him. They would just follow him. And sometimes to go to the next place, because Lord Chaitanya didn't like to travel with big crowds following, and so he'd get up in the middle of the night, everyone was sleeping, and he'd sneak off to the next town. So in that way, he was attracting so many. And it is said that if Lord Chaitanya just embraced someone, or if he just looked at someone, they could be imbued with the love of God. Just if he looked at you, you would get ecstatic symptoms and feel love of God. So if he wanted to give you the transcendental knowledge, Lord Chaitanya, just by looking at you, just by giving the transcendental knowledge, we know Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought to teach Lord Chaitanya about Vedanta Sutra. When Lord Chaitanya first came to to Jagannath Puri, he went to the Jagannath temple, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was a great Pandit, and he was very attracted to Lord Chaitanya, but he said that he asked about which order of the sannyas he was, and he said, well, you're taking the sannyas in a little bit lower order. If you like, I can initiate you into the more higher order. He was saying to Lord Chaitanya. And you're young, you need to study more Vedanta Sutra, these things, so if you like, I can do the teaching of these things if you come to my house. So Lord Chaitanya, very humble, he agreed, yes, you're a great scholar, I will come there. So we know the Leela is that he was speaking for quite some time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and speaking Vedanta Sutra, but Lord Chaitanya didn't make any reaction, just listening, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya commented, you're not saying anything. Is it my explanation not clear? And he said, well, the explanation of the Vedanta and Vedanta Sutra is very clear, but your explanation of your commentary coming from the Sankaracharya is clouding the whole thing. it's clouding the whole thing. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very taken back. He's like a Pandit. He said, oh, is it? My explanation is clouding. Then you present it and give me more clear understanding. He was being sarcastic. You presented him. And Lord Chaitanya, he spoke, and he gave such a clear understanding of Vedanta Sutra that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was just shocked. He couldn't speak. He was just shocked. And he said, I've never heard anyone speak like that. You are like more than the Brihaspati, the priest of the Devas. That your knowledge is not fathomable. I've never heard anyone speak like that. You must be some empowered person. You must be some empowered person. So at that time, actually, Lord Chaitanya, he gave the mercy to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He manifested his Sadbhuj form. The Sadbhuj form of the Lord. Anyone know what is the Sadbhuj form of the Lord? He showed to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Who knows what is the Sadbhuj? Yes.
Lord Chaitanya, Lord Rama and Lord Krishna.
Yes. Lord Chaitanya holding the Kamandalu and the pot and everything like that, and then there was Lord Ram, and then he showed Lord Krishna with flute and everything. So this is the vision that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya immediately did the Dandavat in front of him and say, you are the Supreme Lord, and gave many prayers like that. And he was very fortunate to get actually enlightened in the proper understanding of Vedanta Sutra. So he gave them, even though he was very learned, and especially the explanations given by the Sankaracharya, still he was immediately enlightened in the presence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had so much effect. We know where he went through the Jarikanda forest, he was going, there were many tigers and deer and so many animals there. He made them all dance and dance with each other. Such was the presence of Lord Chaitanya. In the next verse, Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sa Ho Dito, it says, I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda together. And of course we know Lord Chaitanya, as Krishna come again to experience the love Radha has for Krishna, and Lord Nityananda came to accompany him, and he was Lord Balaram. So Krishna and Balaram came again as Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and they have arisen. Here is at the horizon of Gaura, as the sun and the moon. So when the sun comes up, it gives the light. The moon, if the moon comes up, sometimes you don't see this very often, but sometimes at the start of the day and end of the night. Sometimes you can still see the moon, sometimes you see the sun. But here it's actually said that the sun and the moon rose together. Not that one was going down like the moon's going down and the sun's coming up. Actually, they rose together. So it's explained that the sun is giving the light, the enlightenment from the ignorance, and the moon is giving the cooling, soothing. So the combination of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving enlightenment, but in a very soothing and pleasing way, especially for the people of the Kali Yuga. So this Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj, he offers his obeisances to both Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. So we're very fortunate in this age, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. So in the next verse, Jayatam Suratopango Mamma Manda Mate Gati Matsavasya Parambojo Radha Madana Mohano. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Mad Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. Now, this is very interesting because in Vrindavan at that time, there weren't so many temples when Krishna Das Kaviraj was living there. And there were prominent temples like Radha Govinda and Radha Madmohan, Radha Gopinath, and so on. There are just not so many like now, there's so many. But and Madmohan, that before Krishna Das Kaviraj began to write, he'd been requested to write the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that were not so elaborately discussed by Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala, Lochan Das Thakur. So there were some other pastimes, and of course Lord Chaitanya's pastimes were recorded when he was in Mayapur side in the diaries of Murari Gupta, and then in the Jagannath Puri, especially Swarup Damodar kept diaries, and that Raghunath Das Goswami, when he went to Jagannath Puri, he was put under the care of Swarup Damodar. So he heard, of course, he saw Lord Chaitanya's activities himself, and also he learnt a lot of them from Swarup Damodar. So actually, Krishna Das Kaviraj's guru actually was Raghunath Das Goswami. So he had information like that, and it is said that when he was requested by the Vaishnavas of Vrindavan to write these stories of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and all the devotees, that he first of all went to Radha Madmohan temple to get the blessings of Radha Madmohan. And it is said when he went and bowed down at the feet of Radha Madmohan that a garland fell from the deity and fell on his head. So he knew that Radha Madmohan had given the permission to start the work. So this is why he's praying like that. And as we read through, he'll also pray to Radha Govinda, and he's also praying to Radha Gopinath. So these three deities especially are very important to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, because the Madmohan deity, Radha Madmohan, that Madmohan deity signifies sambandha relationship with the Supreme Personality. That is the beginning. When we first come to the Krishna consciousness, we have to establish our relationship. What is our relationship with Krishna? It's called sambandha, and that is very much personified, and the mercy and the blessings is given by Radha Madmohan, sambandha. So sambandha is represented by Radha Madmohan, and abhidaya. Who knows what is abhidaya? Getting instruction, going on the path. Now you've established your relationship with Krishna for your first coming, and that deity, of course, Radha Madmohan, was established by Sanatana Goswami. So I don't know, many of you may know this already, but Sanatana Goswami had received this Madmohan deity, and there's a whole story here that I've had from many decades ago. But, I just looked it up again to refresh my memory. But this deity was actually installed by Brajnaba when Lord Krishna had departed, he wanted to install some deities in Vrindavan, the place of Krishna's intimate pastimes. And so he established many deities, but these deities were lost over time. They were lost over time. It is said that the Madmohan deity was rediscovered by Advaita Acharya. When Advaita Acharya went for a visit to Vrindavan, he was able to rediscover this deity that was kind of lost for a long time. So a very beautiful deity of Madmohan, and it was actually at that time it was just Madmohan, and the deity of Madmohan, just no Radha, or just Krishna. So he had one disciple, Purushottam Chobe, Damodar Purushottam Chobe, his name was. So he had one disciple in Mathura, in the Mathura area, and so when he went back to Shantipur, he gave the deity, Madmohan deity, to Damodar Purushottam Chobe, and so Advaita Acharya asked him to look after this deity and worship this deity very nicely, and so he did so. And so when Sanatana Goswami came later on, and he was going from place to place, he happened to come across the house of Damodar Purushottam, and he was invited inside and invited to stay for the lunch, and the offering was made to Madmohan, and so as the offering was made, Sanatana Goswami was noticing that this Damodar Purushottam Chobe was chastising Madmohan. I said, I offered you so many things, but you didn't eat them all. And so many times you're doing like that. I'm giving you things, but you're not eating them all. So he's chastising him in a very seemingly over-familiar way, directly treating the Madmohan as his like his son. He had already had children, so he was treating Madmohan like his son. So Sanatana Goswami was very astonished to see them. Of course, he brought the prasad Madmohan, and Sanatana Goswami was eating the prasad, but he was very astonished to see this relationship. He didn't say anything. But then later on, when he went back to Vrindavan, he had a dream. And the dream was when Madmohan actually appeared to Sanatana in a dream and said this: many years ago I was installed by Braja, the great grandson of Krishna. After many centuries I was given to the care of this Chobe. I will inspire him to give me to you, so you can look after me now. I've enjoyed being looked after in a very intimate way by this Damodar Purushottam Chobe and his family, but now I want to be under your care. That is my desire. So Sanatana informed this Damodar Purushottam Chobe that he had the dream like that, and Damodar accepted that this must be so. He had a similar dream, actually. He had a similar dream where the Lord appeared to him: I've enjoyed staying in your place, but now I want to go with Sanatana Goswami. So sometimes very advanced devotees, they have very intimate relationships with the deity. That well, there was one Haridas Swami who had a very intimate relationship with the deity, that Banki Bihari deity, and he was worshipping him very nicely, so nicely, and and they had very intimate relationship. And one time he had to go away on getting some articles for the deity, and he entrusted the worship of the deity to one of the pujari. So when he got up to leave in the morning, he left very early in the morning. When the pujari came to worship the deity early in the morning, he found the deity was gone. Where's the deity? Who's taken the deity? Deity is gone. He was very upset. So then he was looking everywhere. So many people were looking, and then he was going on one road. And then as they were coming closer, they saw the deity, and and just behind this Haridas Swami. He was missing him, and he followed him. He followed him up the road, and but then when the deity saw that they were looking, he stopped. He just stopped in the middle of the road, and they came and they took him back and they told Haridas Swami everything. And it's now when you go there to take the darshan, they always you notice when they open the curtain and then they close the curtain very quickly. Also Nathji is the same. When you go to Nathji, they open the curtain. They're afraid, because there's another pastime over there, that if they open the curtain too long, the Lord will see a very nice devotee he likes, and then he'll sneak away with that devotee. He'll sneak away with that devotee, and he won't be there anymore. So they don't open the curtain very long. They close it again. They're looking quickly. You have a quick look, and then we're closing again. So so many great devotees have very intimate, and we'll tell the story of Sanatana Goswami, very intimate relationship with Madhya. So he took him, and of course he was just living in atop of a place on top of the hill, Dvarasha Aditya Tila, near the Jamuna River, on top of the hill, and he built a small hut for him there. Built a small hut near by the tree, one tree, and he built a small hut, put the deity there, and he was a renunciate, of course, and not even a family man, and so when he was living with Damada Purushottam Chobe, he was getting some nice foodstuffs, everything like that, getting some nice offerings, and even so that Damada was chastised, you're not eating what I'm giving you, why are you leaving so many things? But with Sanatana Goswami, he was renunciate, he didn't have many things, he was just cooking what was he cooking? The rotis, some flat rotis, just on the stone fire, and a flat roti, no salt, no nothing, just cooking some roti, offering to the deity. So for many days he was offering to the deity, just morning, night, all the time, the same thing. So one time the deity actually spoke to him, and the deity said this: "Dear one, I am bored merely eating these dry rotis again and again. Please at least find some salt and give it some taste. You're offering me the same thing, that is bad enough, but at least there's no salt either. At least put some salt inside there." So Sanatana Goswami, he replied, he would say, "Well, yes, I'm a renunciate, I don't have many things, I just make what I can get. And then salt, sometimes I can get it, and sometimes I'm not averse to providing the salt, but many times I don't get the salt. And if I provide salt tomorrow, you want ghee, the next day you want spices, and then you want other preparations. Please keep in mind, I'm a renunciate. Don't ask so many things." Krishna just wanted the salt. But so Sanatana was actually thinking, he was having this discussion with the deity directly. And the Lord was talking back again with him. And so by the mystic power of the Lord, one merchant who was taking a boat from coming down the Jamuna, the Lord made that all of a sudden the Jamuna water drop, and it became shallow, and on one section there was a little bit higher area, and so that boat with actually he was carrying salt and some other products as well, and he forced that boat to become stranded. They couldn't move because it was too shallow. So this was all the divine, just nearby the hill where Madhya was there. So he was very much in anxiety because of all the products were there on the boat, and Sanatana Goswami could see him, and he said, "Well, why don't you just come and let's pray together to Madhya to help raise the waters of the Jamuna so your boat can float again." So they prayed, and such was the case that the river waters came up, and so the what was his name? Ram something, huh? Yeah, some Ram, I forget his name now, but maybe I've got it here. Oh yeah, some say it was Krishna Das Kapoor, others say it was Ram Das Kapoor. Yeah, I've got it here. And so this is what happened. Miraculously it floated, clear of the obstruction, and he was so grateful, he gave as much salt as he wanted. Not only that, but he thought that, I'll build a nice temple for Madhya. Because he was a rich man. He was a rich man. I'll build a nice temple, and this is how the temple, Madhya temple, came there to that spot on top of the hill. And here it is mentioned that it was built during the 1580s. This is one of Vrindavan's very first temples. So that whole temple was built at that time, and Manmohan was installed in that temple. And at that time, as actually is mentioned here, that there was no deity of Radha at that time. Now we say Radha Manmohan, but actually the deity came later, and it was a gift when he came. These deities here, like Manmohan, Govinda deity, and Gopinath deity, when the Muslims were ruling India, many of the leaders of the time. What is mentioned here? Some of the leaders weren't so against the Hindus, but there was one of them who came. He's Aurangzeb, who was very much against the Hindus, and he wanted to smash all the temples and smash all the deities, and he especially Vrindavan, Mathura Vrindavan, was a very famous area, and he especially wanted to smash them. He felt that there was a great offence by putting the form of the god putting a form of the god in a deity form, and he wanted to go there, break the temples, and especially the Radha Govinda temple, Radha Mohan. He saw the big domes from the distance, especially Radha Govinda, and he said, dismantle all that. I don't want to see that rise like that. Dismantle it all. But luckily, before he arrived there, the deities were moved, secretly moved, because they know he was coming to do that. And so he made statements like, I'm going to smash those deities, and I'm going to use the deities, the marble of the deity and the stone of the deity, I'm going to put for making the road, and put in the ingredients for making the road, and we'll make the road and everyone can walk on them. He was so against this Aurangzeb. He was so against the Hindu and the deities of the Hindu. So the deities were moved. Radha Govinda was moved, and Manmohan was moved, and Gopinath. Radha Gopinath was moved, and Radha Ballabha. Many deities were moved, and many went to secretly, stopping at different places along the way. They eventually came to Jaipur. So there's nice accounts given. Indradumna Maharaj gives a nice class about this. He researched it during the COVID. He was in Vrindavan. He was very fortunate during the COVID. He just happened to be in Vrindavan, so he couldn't go out of India. And no one could leave India or come in India, everyone remembers. And so he was very fortunate. He was in Vrindavan, so he's able to stay in Vrindavan a long time. He used that opportunity to study all the different works, all the ancient histories of the deities and how they were moved. And he gave many classes where they were traveling, where they stopped along the way. They went to the Radhakund, Kamyavan, Bharatpur. They stopped at different places. They took the deities, almost simultaneously together. They were going together, stopping in the different places, and eventually going to very secretly, and not many people knew, just in case they got back to Aurangzeb, that they were sneakingly taking the deities out. So they travelled very quietly, only a few people knew, and stopping in the different places, and finally they arrived at Jaipur, and the deities were there in Jaipur. Who was the king there? Let's see, Bharatpur Raja Badan Singh was there, the king of Jaipur. Yes. So it came there, and he had one Sitaram temple. All the deities were put there. Eventually went to the place they are now. And Manmohan was also there. But what happened was that Manmohan didn't stay at Jaipur. When you go to Jaipur, which deities you can see Radha Govindaji, you can see Radha Gopinath, and of course the Radha Rani was added later, and even Radha Manmohan. They said that King Prataparudra's son, he sent for Manmohan. He sent two deities, two female deities. One was bigger than the other one, and one was Lalita, and the other was Radha. So they joined Manmohan and Karoli. So at that time, how he came to Karoli is an interesting story. There was a Raj Gopal Singh of Karoli. He had one dream where Manmohan wanted to come there, and he was married to the king of Jaipur's daughter. He was married to her. And so she was very attached to that deity she saw in Jaipur. She was very attached to Mad Mohan. And so when they came back, the king of Karoli, this Gopal Singh, he had a dream where Mad Mohan said, I want to come, your wife is very attached to me and I want to come to the Karoli. And so he told the king of Jaipur, his father-in-law, that he had a dream like that. He said, well, that may be very good, but how we know for sure that you had a dream like that? He said, well, I'm just telling you. So, all right, we'll make one test. We'll make one test. We have here, all the deities are here in the courtyard. Radha Govinda and Radha Gopinath and Mohan, so many Krishna deities. We'll put the blindfold on you and you go there, and if you go and you stand before the actual Mad Mohan and touch his feet, then we can know that actually it's a fact. The dream is a fact. So he did. They put the blindfold on him and they just showed him that just go this direction, and he was going, and the different deities, and somehow or other he came before one deity, was Mad Mohan. And he touched his lotus feet and he bowed down and he stood up again. Many people that came to see that, actually, the description is like that. Many people that came to see this event, that as the word had gone out, that, they're putting that blindfold because of the dream. He says he has the dream, but now they're testing him. And so he went there. So the king of the Jaipur, he said, this must be this. He gave his blessing, you take the deity there. So when the deity there, they made the big temple, and it was at that time that King Patapurudra's son, I forget his name now, his son sent, when he heard that the deity was there, and in honor of the deity, he sent one Lalita and one Radharani. And so you can go to Karoli and see Radha Mad Mohan there, and you can go to the Jaipur, see Radha Govinda, and you can see Radha Gopinath. And of course we have a very beautiful big ISKCON temple in Jaipur. Has anyone been there? Big size temple in Jaipur, ISKCON temple. Beautiful place. When we went there, it was outside. It was in a more remote, and now Jaipur has grown so big, it's practically in the middle of the city now. In the middle of the city. Also, I remember Bhuvaneshwara, also that temple when His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj was getting the land. He showed Prabhupada, went there, and it was right outside the city, a distant place, because it was more cheap land and we can afford that thing. So Prabhupada said this will become more. Actually, Prabhupada also said in Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, I went for the opening of the temple in 1975. There was all empty there. All empty, just an ashram here, an ashram there. We couldn't even stay there. We stayed at the Fogel ashram, and when you walked to the Krishna Balaram temple, there was nothing in between. And Prabhupada actually told us this will become like the center of Vrindavan here, this place, Raman Reti. That place where Krishna Balaram temple is Raman Reti. Raman Reti. So this will become, so now when you go there, it's so packed up. And similarly also in Jaipur, our temple now has become like part of the Jaipur. Is like you couldn't tell it was out. And Bhuvaneshwara is same. Bhuvaneshwara has come around the temple. We find in a lot of places where there's the deity, the whole area becomes blessed. Becomes up market area. When we bought our Melbourne temple, for example, that area there was rundown area, and we could buy because it was more cheap. And so we bought the property. And then we made, where Radha Vallabha came there, now is one of the most expensive suburbs in the whole of Melbourne. You can't buy, over the lane from our temple, there's some houses there over on the other side of the lane. They're $10 to $15 million each to buy one house there. $10 to $15 million. And the smaller ones on the main road where the temple is, they're like $3 or $4 million. When we bought the temple, the landlord, he owned 3 of the little houses. He came to us, I want to sell 3 houses here. How much you want? I want $15,000 for each place. This is 1974. I want $15,000. Now the place is there. Each place is $3 or $4 million each. So, and the whole area has come up. Everything is opulent. We found also in North Sydney a little bit run down there. Now it is so expensive there. Everywhere we go, the area becomes very blessed by the presence of Radha and Krishna, presence of Gaur Nitai. And so we'll see now. Patoni is very famous. Now Gornitai is going to Petone, and you'll see how everything, it become like the grand place of Wellington, because Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya are going to come there now. You will see such a miraculous transformation will be there. I've just seen everywhere in the world, just like our temple in the Brooklyn, Schermerhorn Street. That was such a bad area when I first went there. Such a bad area. Hare Krishna. You had to be careful how you were walking. Someone would come with a gun or the knife or something, and there was such a bad area. But we bought again, more cheap. So we bought now is one of the most expensive. We know there's been a whole argument. One of our former temple president wanted to sell it, and he was offered $60 million for that place. That was 10 years ago. $60 million. They wanted to knock it and make a big high rise. And so we'll give you 60 million, and then we said no, and he upped 70 million. Well, 70 million. American dollars. So that whole area now is so expensive, because what happened in Manhattan, which is the island of Manhattan, which is very expensive, it was too expensive, and people were moved to that side, to the Brooklyn side on the other side of the bridge, and it became what they call the new Manhattan. So the whole area has become, just because Radha Govindaji is there. That's how it became like that, actually. So many stories like that. So anyway, Madhya, the beautiful temple there, and the deities were sent to Karoli, and a beautiful temple. And of course in the Vrindavan we have the replica deities, what's called the Pratibhu Vigraha. Replica deities of the original deities are there, Madhya, Govinda, and so on, and Radha Gopinath, replica deities of the original, but the original ones, they're in the other place, Jaipur, Karoli. So anyway, so this is a side story I thought I'd tell you today. It's a very wonderful story, how all this came about, and how the big temple of Madhya was built under the Sanatan by the donation of this very wealthy merchant, and the big temple came up. But anyway, going and reading about from the Chaitanya Charitamrita here in regard to Krishnadas Kaviraj offering his obeisances first to Radha Madhya Sambandha. Then he offers his obeisances to Govindaji. So as I said, Sambandha, first establish our relationship, get the blessings of the Lord to make the connection with him. This is so Prabhupada actually mentions that this is very important for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas who follow strictly in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worship the divinity by chanting transcendental sounds meant to develop a sense of one's transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord, Sambandha, and reciprocation of mellows of mutual affection, Abhidaya, and ultimately the achievement of desired success and loving servant Prayojana, the ultimate goal. So these three deities, Madhya, Govinda and Gopinath, are worshipped in three different stages of one's development. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Prabhupada is writing this. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scrupulously follow these principles of approach. So when you go to Vrindavan, Govindaji, or if you can go to Jaipur, first of all go to Madhya, if you go Karoli, or you can have the replica, same. But if you can go Karoli. So we're worshipping, and if you can't go there, at least you're worshipping, you're understanding, first of all, Madhya, then Govinda, and the different acharyas of each stage. So Sanatana Goswami is considered the acharya of Sambandha, and then of Abhidaya is Rupa Goswami. Especially we have to study, Prabhupada said, especially we have to study works like Nectar of Devotion, which was written by Rupa Goswami. Of course, Prabhupada only gave the summary. Now, of course, Banu Maharaj has done the full, and it's available, the full. And I remember actually one devotee was saying to Prabhupada, because we didn't have Nectar of Devotion before. And then one devotee said, I'm reading Nectar of Devotion. So many rules and regulations, Prabhupada. So many rules and regulations. I don't know if we can follow all these things. We are from the Western culture. We don't know anything practically, and now you want us to follow all these things here. is there's too many rules and regulations. He said, no, if I've only given the summary of the rules and the regulations. If I were to give the full thing, you would be fainting. You would be fainting what the full thing. So Bana Maharaj has been working for some time, and it's been now produced by the BBT. It's available, the full Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The whole thing now. You can read the whole thing. So that, and of course, the Acharya is Rupa Goswami. He presented that work. How to put into action and develop the relationship. Okay, you establish a relationship, Mad Mohan, and then Radha Govinda, then okay, now you have to put into action and develop the relationship. And then, of course, Radha Gopinath. And what does Gopinath mean? He's the master of the gopis, and then the ultimate goal is to come in the mood, especially the followers. I was saying in the class this morning, or was it yesterday? I can't remember. Last night, maybe in the program last night. I was saying the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're very blessed because they come in the mood. They can become followers of those devotees who are in the mood of Madhurya Ras, Madhurya, conjugal love, as Lord Chaitanya is experiencing Radharani's love for Krishna. Krishna wanted to experience that. So that is Madhurya Ras. So those who are coming in the line of Lord Chaitanya, they are in that rasa, and the gopis' love for Krishna, and the head of all the gopis, of course, is Srimati Radharani. So Gopinatha signifies prayojana, which is what is the goal, how to develop, coming up to the highest levels of intimate relationship, intimate love, prema, bhava, and then prema, Krishna Prema, Radha Bhav. Here the Acharya is Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami was the guru of Krishna Das Kaviraj, and he had very intimate contact with Lord Chaitanya. He lived in the Radha Kund for so many years there. You can go there and see his bhajan kuti there, and he was very much in that mood of separation from Krishna. So I thought I'd speak a little bit about that today, and so we'll just finish off here from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, glory to all merciful Radha Mad Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. And then he goes on to say, in the temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath a desire tree, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances to them. They start Mad Mohan, and he's offering obeisances to Radha Govinda. And then he says in the next one, Shriman Rasa Rasarambi, Vamsi Pata Tatastitaha, Kashan Venus Fane Gopi, Gopinatha, Sriye Stunaha. We say that in the recitation when the yagyas and things like that. May Gopinath Ji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute, and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of the Jamuna in Vamsibat, be merciful unto us. And then he says, Jaya Jaya Gora Chandra, Jaya Kripa Sindhu, Jaya Jaya Sachi Sudha, Jaya Dina Bandhu. He says, all glory to Sri Gora Hari, who is an ocean of mercy, Kripa Sindhu. He is an ocean, Jaya Jaya Sachi Sutta, Jaya Dina Bandhu. You are the friend, Dina Bandhu, you are the friend of all the fallen souls. All glories, Jaya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Srivasadi, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Nityananda, Advaita Prabhu, all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, headed by Srivas. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jaya. Go Premanandi. Thank you very much for listening to the recitation from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and all the devotees, and the understanding of our Prayojana, or rather our Sambandha, Abhidaya and Prayojana. They're very important. Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we have to understand these things very nicely. And this nurtures our devotional service, our creeper of love of God, and develops it until it becomes more and more mature, more and more strong, and going right up to Prayojana. So these things are nicely explained by the mercy of our great Acharyas. Hare Krishna. Does anyone have any question or comment? they'd like to make? Yes, Guru.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, the question is, how can one be steadfast in chanting and hearing, especially when the circumstance that one is in is not actually conducive to bhakti?
Well, I think in the Kali Yuga, the circumstances all around are not conducive. Everywhere is not conducive. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have come into a situation which is very conducive. So Krishna is very kind. He's very kind. He knows the Kali Yuga. We were reading this morning that Krishna is so kind that the asuras that weren't killed by him in the previous age, he allowed them to take birth as brahmanas in the Kali Yuga. And gave them the opportunity as brahmanas, but some of them misused their position and became degraded. The Brahmin community became degraded by the influence of Kali. But Krishna is very kind that, the people of the Kali Yuga are very materialistic. He's come as Lord Chaitanya and he's made the whole process very easy. The whole situation is not conducive, so materialistic, fighting all over the place. Kali Yuga, there's one statement from the Bhagavatam, wherever there are two people, they'll fight. Even two people, they're fighting. I remember we sent, I won't mention their names, but we sent two devotees to Perth to open the first centre in Perth, Australia in Perth. So there's only two devotees, there's no centre. And so along the way, after some time we had to recall them because we found that they were fighting. One was saying, I want to be the president. The other one said, no, I want to be the president. Why you should be the president, I will be the president. And they were fighting. So then we said, I better you both come back. We will send someone else there. Just two of you there and you're fighting already? New devotees. We said that. They take the opportunity, open some nice place there. In those days, everyone was new devotee. But they were fighting one another, arguing. So wherever there's two people, even the devotees, what to speak of outside. So there's not conducive, but one who comes under the umbrella of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Sankirtan movement is that the reign of the Kali Yuga is coming down. Lord Chaitanya provides the umbrella of protection. Just come more under the protection of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Take this chanting more seriously. Always associate with devotees. Now, Lord Chaitanya said that you can read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Madhya Lila section, that he says two things are very important. Chanting very nicely. Japa Kirtan. Last night I was describing different the type of japa not to do. But you can do nice japa, you can do nice kirtan. So that chanting is very essential. And sadhu sangha, I was describing yesterday also. The sadhu sangha. Two things very important. And then in the next verse he goes on to say, and if you can remember this, keep it as a necklace around your neck. Trinadapi sunichana tarodapi sahishana amanana manadina kirtaniya sarahari. Just try to be lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. Wear this as a necklace around your neck. And this way, you will always be able to chant the holy name of the Lord very nicely. So always remain humble, and remember these instructions of Lord Chaitanya. Always do nice chanting, always associate with the devotees. It's nice to ask questions about how to remain steady, but now you've heard so many times what is the answer for these things. Prabhupada one time, he said that when he was asked repeatedly the same question, he said, I have no new answer. Answer is same. Don't ask me, don't think I'm going to give new one. Answer will be same. Do nice chanting, nice associating with devotees, remain humble, more tolerant than tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. Now, false prestige, Janma, Aishwarya, Shuta, Shribi. There's four main categories of false prestige. One is you're puffed up by your high birth. Big Brahmin family, very aristocratic family, very puffed up. As soon as one becomes puffed up, arrogant, then you're going to commit offences. It's like mathematical equation. If there's pride, you'll say something bad against someone else. So this is it's a prestigious position to have a nice family, but it's a false prestige, superficial thing. Superficial, and one has to be very careful. Janmaishwara. Aishwara means opulence. Very nice to have a lot of money, a lot of possessions, very prestigious. People hanker these things. Big family, if you can be in a big family. Many people are in very bad families, but some people are very good families, very prestigious. He's got the big name, big Brahmin, aristocratic family, very prestigious. But be careful. And then a lot of money, very prestigious. Everyone wants money. You want to go to the foreign countries, make a lot of money, become very rich, and then you can be the lowest of the people. But if you've got a lot of money, I mean, you're so nice. I always remember the story I read many years ago. That one man in England, he was very poor. He was just living off the pension, living in the commission house in the UK in London, and all of a sudden he won the lottery. He won £10 million, which was many decades ago, a lot of money. £10 million. He was just lonely. No one would see. Even his relatives didn't want to know him, didn't talk to him. All of a sudden, all his relatives, oh, how are you? How are you doing? Before they never talked to him. Well, now they wanted to talk to him. And so, and then he became a very great personality, even before no one wanted to talk to him. Because he had money now. He had money. But with money also you can do good things, or it is the cause of degradation. So this is prestige, but it's called false prestige. And Janmaishwara Shruta, very learned. You've got your BA, MA, PhD, and it can be very prestigious. Everyone likes to have a title in education, but be careful, they're puffed up. So be very careful. You can use these things nicely in Christian service, or you can be puffed up and commit offence. But nevertheless, it's prestigious. And the other one, Shruta Shribi, one is very handsome man, very beautiful woman. This is very prestigious. Everyone likes to see a very beautiful woman. Someone likes to see a very handsome man. Very prestigious if you can be like. And if you have many of these things together, you're handsome, you're beautiful, you're educated, you've got money, you've got a high family. If you've got all these things together, a very high prestigious position. But it's called false prestige because it's temporary. You can get money, lose money, and your looks, you're very beautiful now, very handsome now. After 20 years, 30 years, no one wants to look at you anymore. Oh, who's that ugly person now? So these things are very superficial, very, very superficial. But free. One has to be free from false prestige. Understand what are the so-called prestigious things in the world, and don't allow oneself to get puffed up by these things. So more tolerant than the tree, more humble than the blade of the grass, and devoid of all false prestige, ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So Lord Chaitanya said, wear this around your neck, and always remember this verse. And in this way, you can, even not very conducive, but put yourself in this situation. You have to do your duties in the world. That's to be expected, but always find time. Prabhupada says, find time. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta tells one story. He was always trying to encourage one Grihastha to come into the temple more and to engage in the spiritual activities. Oh, Guruji, I haven't got any time. I'm very busy with a young family now. No time. So from time to time, Srila Bhakti would say the same thing after a few more years. Well, but you said you were going to come there. Yes, but still I don't have much time. And then after some time, Srila Bhakti said, well, when will you ever have time? Better do it now. Because actually I'm finding that you've got less time as we go along. So so you have to find the time. Srila Prabhupada also told us, you have to find the time. Find the time. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was famous for, he would ask his disciples to come to class in the evening in Calcutta, even though Grihastas, they were working, tired, but no, come to the class. And some of them came to the class, and in the middle of the class, sometimes some would get up to leave. And then he would stop, he would say, where are you going? Why are you going? You came to the class? Oh, I haven't finished the class yet. You have to sit and listen for the rest of the class. Don't go now. But Guruji, no, sit down. So we have to have determination, and from the association, from the chanting, and by always remembering these instructions. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your question. Thank you. But no new answer. Same answer. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. For this time, your visit was little longer than earlier. So we got both Saturday and Sunday, and we could actually do 4 programs, 2 online and 2 in person. Hopefully we can get even little more longer, and we can go to Palmerston North. I think Srinivas Prabhuji was also keen to have a program, and we can do more programs here as well in Wellington, and we will get more association. So to show our gratitude for Maharaj, let us chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. And we would be now having prasadam from Maharaj's hands. So you can queue up. And before that, we will do Mahaprasadam.
Jai Mahaprasad ki jai.
Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Svalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasunaiva Jayaten Sharira Vidya Jai Jodindriya Karika Jive Prele Vishaya Sagare Tarmate Jivate Lobhamai Sudurmate Take Deka Kakne Samsare Krishna Bana Dayamai Karivare Jiva Jai Swaprasada Nalobhai Seyana Vidapao Radha Krishna Gurgao Premena Koshi Navita Janimai Janidai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Gaunitai Mahaprasad ki jai. Hare Krishna. Please come.
Oh, look at this Mahaprasadam here. You can take that.